Can we do something?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, Ian, can we do something?
Of course,
YouTube,
let's go.
Appreciate you. Can you please hit the like button. Hit the like button.
We got a question the other day in orientation. Shout out to Janet for hosting orientation. I popped in here and I gave him a little sneak peek. And the question was like, you guys always say, do your homework, do your homework. Well, what is the homework? And so I was like, you know what? Maybe we should let him in a little bit on the homework, because when you see how much homework has to be done, you'll realize why we say, don't pick 45 companies. Don't pick 100 companies. You just can't do the in-depth homework that you need to. And so since we're talking about this great company, Apple, I'm gonna share my screen.
Yeah,
put the caps up in the joint if y'all can see the screen.
We wanted to end the year with a bang, so we're giving out a lot of jewelry, a lot of free game. We're giving out Kwanzaa gifts.
Hey yo, y'all see what type of time I was on? So when I saw that article, this is my screen. Like we ain't gonna play games. This is what I'm looking at. And so I'm gonna come to this site right here. Thumbs up if you can see it. Fire emojis if you can see it. Site is called Estimize. Estimize. You can see it right up here. Estimize. Right. And this is something that I use when I'm doing my homework, when I want to see the potential revenue or earnings per share of a company. So I'm gonna walk y'all through this. Estimize. Write this down. Put this in your notes. We're gonna go on a journey right here. All right. So obviously I've put in my search here, Apple. This is the company. And so on this site, we have over 33,000 people following it. There are analysts. So analysts could be retail investors like us, or there could be some institutional investors. However it is, they're here. There's almost 11,000 of them. This is the top analyst, right? So this person has based his research and created an estimate that has come back at a high percentage, right? And so I'll explain that in a second. This is the next part here. So like every Monday at 9 o'clock, I'm telling you the earnings. When's the next earnings? When's the next earnings? Well, I'm not just picking that out of the air. I'm literally watching the calendars here, right? So this tells me that Q1 for 2021, the first quarter 2021, that's going to be coming in about 42 days, 19 hours, and 12 minutes, right? Estimate. So it should be around February 2nd, maybe in that week for Apple's earnings. And so let's do some real research here. Let's do some real crazy. All right. And so when you get to the site, you're going to see this EPS. And for those of you who are not familiar, I know there's a lot of beginners. EPS, and I know it gets scary, that is earnings per share. And how it's calculated is the profitability of the company divided by its outstanding shares. That's teacher mode right there. Like I'm giving the notes out. EPS, earnings per share, profitability divided by the outstanding shares in the company, right? And the revenue is how much the company took in. And so when we look here, the higher the EPS, the more profitable. And so Apple, if we're looking at first quarter, right, 2019, this is also true, right? If you want to see what a company is going to do, look at this past performance. And so this is first quarter 2019. And so we see what the Estimize, this site, all these analysts said the earnings per share would be at 105. Wall Street said 104. Apple actually did 105, right? And so it kind of beat Wall Street's estimate. That's Q1. I want you to remember Q1. Q1, Q1, Q1. Remember it. We're going to come back to it. Here's Q2, and we can track it. Estimize, the site said 61. Wall Street said 59. Apple actually did 62, right? 0.62, right? And so we look at here. We're going to just go look at Wall Street because, you know, those are the big wigs, right? We'll look at Wall Street and actual. And so we got Q3. They had 52. Apple did 55. 71 for Q4, and Apple did 76. So it's beat Wall Street's estimate for the year of 2019. Let's look at Q1. Q1 again. I want you to notice something, right? Its best quarter has been Q1, right? So if we look at fall 19, we got 104. We look at fall 20, right? We got 113. So year to date, we've seen some growth here. We've seen growth, right? From 1.04 to 113. We've seen some growth. Okay, let's look at quarter two. We have 56. Wall Street's estimate. It did, what's that, 64? So it actually beat Wall Street's estimate. And in Q3 was 51, and it beat it again. And this is Q3. So this is Q2 and Q3. We have Corona in here. Corona is starting, and it's at, things are getting shut down, but they're still making profit because they have amazing products, right? When we were in lockdown, people were buying devices. More iPads were sold, more MacBooks were sold, iPhones were still being bought, services were still being provided. And so here's Q4. They had 71, and they did 73. And so Q1, remember I said Q1 of each year is their strongest quarter. Why? Well, if we know Apple, we know their Q1 reporting has to do with its holiday sales. And so when we look at the holiday sales, we know iMacs are being bought. We know iPads being bought. Same thing. This year, however, it's a little bit different because we told you on Market Mondays that they did not include the iPhone 12 in its reports because it got delayed this year. So they have to add that in. And so we went from 1.13 Q1 to now a Wall Street estimate of 1.39 earnings per share, right? That's a projected 10% increase. We'll see what happens. That's just the earnings per share. But here's the revenue. Let's see the revenue.
Yep.
Oh, don't do that. Oh, it's going to dead me.
It was going too good. It's going too
Cat
good.
can't live with it. Can't live without it.
Nah. We're going to get them.
We got it. Everybody take a chance real quick. Take a moment to like the video, please, and share with your friends if you've gotten some value from this today or this year.
Please,
here we go.
Please share your Instagram stories. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're just getting started. It's going to be a glorious 2021.
Oh, it's going to dead me. They didn't want me to be great.
What are you looking for? Revenue numbers?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I might pull it up on my backup. Let's pull it up on my backup.
You always got to
have a backup. And so hopefully Estimize comes back up, but we'll switch over. Oh, wait. There you go. All right. So now let's look at the revenue. And so like I've been telling my boys, like, and Shadi will tell you, my brother G will tell you, Spence will tell you, Jamal will tell you for sure. I'm like, yo, I'm huge on Apple. Like, I love it. I love what they're about to do. I know the products. I know what's coming down the pipeline. But I'm also going here to look at Q1 because that's the next quarter that's coming. And so if I look at fall 19, I'm looking here, 84. This is what a B, right? They actually were right on target. So Wall Street's estimate, Apple performed first quarter. Second quarter, we went down to 57, 53, right? We can see that it's relatively in the same ballpark. But look at Q1 again, right? Q4 was 62. Q1, we went up to 88. And so Q1 19, we were 84. But Q1 20, we're up at 88. So there's relative growth there, right? I told you the higher the EPS, the more profitability of the company. And so let's look at Q2 in 2020. This is Corona time. We see this 54 here, 52. We see growth. I want you to pay attention to this, though. I want you to compare Q1 2020 to the estimate for Q1 2021. Look at this growth. Wall Street is estimating 88. They had 88. Apple did 91. Wall Street is estimating 101.6. The chances of Apple hitting this number or getting close to it, I like the chances of it, right? And it's
High
not
probability.
The high probability of it. Why? For a number of reasons that we just said before, right? We know some things were not part of the Q4 reporting. Number one being the iPhone. And if you look at all the reports, the iPhone 12 is outselling all its predecessors, right? They had products that were released in this fourth quarter. They had their service, their health app released. Now, the new headphones were kind of late in the quarter, so we'll see if there's any revenue. I know there's a huge back order, but back orders can be looked at two ways, right? Back orders are like, great, but they don't have revenue for that quarter. But guess what that does? That just means in Q2, when they have enough supply, the Q2 numbers are going to look pretty good because all those back orders that came in during the holiday season. So the profitability for this company, in my opinion, probably the best company, is very high. And so this is just one piece of the homework pie that I'm talking about when I'm like, do your homework. We're here doing this, right? We're here doing this because it's important, right? Let's go here. Ian, what's up? You see me?
You killing, man. I'm enjoying.
I was here.
Oh, you got to layer it. You're giving them the whole.
No, I'm just gonna show them one last thing.
Cover up your iMessage though.
Who's it? Oh yeah. That's the stock. Well, that's us.
Oh, okay.
That's us. Somebody said Troy's killing it. We get live text as we do these things,
yeah,
yo. That's
Matt, Mike, don't text anything crazy, man. if you text anything crazy, I can't save you.
Yo, my screen is on share. Just
Yeah.
be easy for a sec.
I can't save you.
And so I was telling my team, I'm like, yo, in the chat, I'm like, yo, bro, I'm looking at these numbers for Apple. I'm looking at that RSI. Me and Trap had a great conversation this morning. I'm like, yo, Trap, what's your RSI number? And it was crazy because we said it at the same time. If you look down here, this is the RSI. And that's the relative strength index, right? It tells you if a company's oversold or overbought. And so I like my number in between. It's crazy. We had the same exact thing, 35 to 55. And so when I looked at Apple and I'm looking over here, it's at 60. I think I was over here when I was calling y'all. And I was like, yo, bro. Oh, it's right here, right in here, December 10th. I'm like, yo, it actually is under 60. It actually is at 56. I hit them up like, yo, it's a good time. It's a good time. Plus, I see that the bands have constricted, which means, right, that it's going sideways for a little bit, but it has a chance to get on a run, right? When we talked about the bands, when you see them expand like this, right, there's potential for a run. When you see them moving sideways and contracted, it's going to be a little steadying of the stock. But I looked at it here and I said, look, man, we got 56. This is a good number. I like this number, y'all. And then we went up. So now you can see that the RSI has gone up too. And so when I'm looking at it, this is like part 2. Now, my orientation people, be careful. I'm going to give them the rest.
This is Yahoo Finance, right?
This is Yahoo Finance. My orientation people, y'all was there. I gave y'all a little bit more, but we're going to do so when we talk about homework, this is the homework. Now, imagine you doing this for 46 companies, and that's not all the homework. You see up here, let me cover my iMessage real quick. You see up here, right? These are all the tools. These are all the tools that I'm using, and that's for every company. And so, like, when we're talking about a list, I'm like, yo, man, 20 is tough. So I need to do this much thorough of an analysis to see if this is even worth buying. Then I got to do a Shotty calling me like, yo, what's up? What we got? That adds another 10 to the list. And so, like, this is part of the process. This is the homework what we're talking about. Do your homework, do your homework. Because we could tell you, but when you figure out your why, it makes it even more important, right? So when I'm saying it and they get to see it, plus he's a harsh critic, he's gonna ask me 1,000 questions to make sure this is a good position, which helps me because I got to dive deeper into the research. This is why we say it. So number 1, do your research. But number 2, get you a partner that is going to question every move you make, because it's only going to help you in the end get deeper in the research and have more in-depth answers.
Kill a deal. That's what I try. That's what Jamar, shout out to Jamar, he used to always say. That's what he was toying business. I try to kill a deal
every time. Yo, I appreciate y'all for locking in with us. That was our homework segment.
That was incredible, man. That was incredible.
Big caps in the chat for us.
If I can add one thing, I want you guys to look at Apple. Give me the 5-year Sortino index rating, and then tell me what the ratio of revenue divided by net income is. A good company will have a minimum of 4 in terms of that ratio. And everybody put up some fire emojis for Troy, because that was incredible. We're going to go fundamental heavy next. Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to throw on every old Rough Rider beat and go crazy. Let him shut it. That was incredible, man. Yeah. I love that. But that's what the conversations are like.
Yeah, and I want to, yeah, man, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. I want to say that publicly because Troy is an inspiration to the average person out there. He didn't have any background in business or investing. He was actually a school teacher. He's for up until this year, and physical education and health school teacher. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It just goes to show you that you can master whatever you put your mind to. Once again, he doesn't have a business background. He doesn't have an investment background. He comes from a background of education in the public school system. So, you know, sometimes we think like, oh, this is Ian. He's a master investor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's been doing this, or Rashad's a financial advisor. But anybody, literally anybody can become good at anything that you want if you commit the time and you dedicate yourself to it. And he's a perfect example of that, man. He's extremely knowledgeable, and he's very, very committed at improving his education. And he's done that, and he's a fast learner, and he's teaching us a lot of stuff as well. So
it's big.
Yeah, kudos to him, man. He's gonna be teaching a class for EY University too. And that's another thing too. It's like sometimes you gotta get out your comfort zone. I've been pushing him for weeks to become more vocal, to show more stuff, to say more stuff. You know, he's more of a, you know, he's in the cut. He's more like, you know, in a laid back Bob. And I've been pushing him to get out of his comfort zone. He's not on social media. He don't really do that. But that just goes to show you too that, you know, sometimes you can get out of your comfort zone, become uncomfortable, and it works out. It works out. So that's a good story to highlight for outside of business, just life in general. Never doubt yourself, never limit yourself, and you can do anything that you want to do.
No, it's a fact, man. And it's encouraging too, man. And like I said to the people yesterday, shout out to everybody that was with us yesterday in the book club. But I was like, look, to my neighborhood, I am Ian Dunlap. To my hood, I am Wall Street Trapper. They don't have access to them, but they know that they have access to me. And so that's important, because everybody that's listening to this right now, there's somebody who doesn't know anything, but you know something, right? You might have heard something tonight, or you might have heard something last week that you can apply to the people around you and bring them in. So you become Troy in your neighborhood, which is incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, literally just, I'm obsessed with the work. I'm with the work. You know what I'm saying? So like, I know everybody has a role to play. Everybody has strengths. And so like, mine's is like, just get to the work. Everything else is cool, but let's do the work.
That's the only thing that matters. Like,
I'll
tell you, like, I'm proud that you're sharing, but don't share so much that it takes away from you actually being great at the craft.
That's what I was telling them. Because even you called me first. I'll be honest. Shadi was telling me like, you got to show these people that. I'm like, all right. And then you were like, I get what you're doing. I get what you're doing, man. I know you behind the scenes making all these calls. And I'm like, man, when it's time, I'm gonna reveal the game. So 2021, we're gonna reveal the game for real. We really gonna peel back some layers and let the world see what's going on, because it's not about me. Like, if I make a call that increases my net income and you do it, it's not taking any money away from me. It's just adding to yours. And so like, you know how we play it, man. Anytime we get knowledge, we got to share it. It's our responsibility to share it. It's our responsibility to make sure that the people are educated and they can do their own, because one day they may not be hearing Troy's voice. They may not be hearing Ian Dunlap's voice, but they'll have the information that we shared, and now they can share it to others. So shout out to everybody that's in here right now, man. Love is love.
Yeah, for sure. That was dope. So and that's another incentive to join EY University. You got Troy. I forced him to do that as well.
You've been pressuring me, y'all.
We're gonna get that rocking. But let's get to some questions before we wrap. That's an hour. That's crazy. Time flies, man. That was a wonderful presentation by Ian. We got to talk about Apple. Troy just broke down a few different websites. That was like 2 lessons in one. And now we're gonna go to so how are we gonna go to those questions? So going forward, EY University, we're going to streamline this process. Like I said, in 2021, we just want to make sure that everything is just moves very, very efficiently. So you guys have the privilege to ask questions, but we're gonna pre-select these questions beforehand. So you can put it in. We're gonna have a thing where you can put it in a Facebook group, and then we'll do like Kramer, like same thing. Like Kramer doesn't like just take random questions. The reason why is because sometimes people might not be there, or sometimes people might not actually follow the guidelines that we try to enforce. So we love you, but for the communities, for the sake of the community, we just gotta show it. But I think that's actually gonna make it a much more enjoyable experience.
We'll probably be able to get more in.
We'll be able to get more questions answered for sure. So. Yes.
Only I can break guidelines when I'm on my open Wiley thing. I'm joking.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
A mic drop.
Bag drop.